And joining us now with the ad slot, the advertising feature here on Kiwi, it's Simon Pound stuck in rush hour Auckland traffic, which is back to normal for the rest of the year this morning. Morning, Simon.
Good morning, Wammo. How are you, sir?
Good. A good sign that schools are in fact back. Is the reason why you're probably stuck in that traffic.
Yeah, I last year it was floated by someone that maybe schools could be staggered, so perhaps they did two sittings in a day. So one was maybe 8 until 2 and one was 2 until 7 or something. And it was kind of shot down without much consideration as being impossible, but it would make a bit of sense. It seems very unusual that you would have every single school-age person and every single 9-to-5 worker all trying to travel at the same time every single day.
I agree, and and especially they're able to alter the school year for the World Cup. I don't know if you've heard about that, but they're going to be.
Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. They're going to extend the first term of 2011 by 2 weeks and shorten the final term by 2 weeks, which is going to affect planning for exams and that kind of thing. Just to get the traffic off the roads during the World Cup.
Well, it's probably... Well, it shows that rugby's a religion, doesn't it? But it probably is a good idea as long as you're not a teacher. Man, must suck to be a teacher at the moment, huh?
Hey, the advertising campaign that we're looking at this morning is the very controversial one put out by ASB to say that they were actually a Kiwibank. Well, how did it actually work? Explain this one, Simon.
Yeah, well this I thought what we talked about this morning is the ASA, the Advertising Standards Authority, have just come back with a ruling on a number of complaints they received about this ASB part of their campaign that they had. Most people probably would have seen it around somewhere. It was all over the shop. It said, "We've been a Kiwibank since 1847 ASB." And it was very clearly in ASB colours, but the Kiwibank was actually in capital letters and was quite prominent. And it appeared all around the shop. I saw it on a number of posters and billboards and the like. It generated quite a few complaints around two main topics. Topic one being that it was not a Kiwibank in an ownership sense, seeing that for many years it's been owned by Australian interests.
Yes. And
the second concern was that it was promoting confusion around its own services and the services of their competitor, Kiwibank.
Yes, so on two levels, it was kind of wrong.
So it was definitely provoking some thought on those two levels, as ASB would say.
Yeah.
So what happened was people complained to this thing called the ASA, the Advertising Standards Authority, and they've got a number of codes and codes of ethics and standards and stuff that they judge all of this by. What then happened was they checked the they then go back to the advertiser and to the advertising agency and to the people who actually publish the advertisements and ask them to respond to the complaints. ASB came back, and pretty much all of them came back with the same kind of idea. They said that on the first issue of ownership, the fact that Kiwibank was not actually a Kiwibank, it was Australian owned, they came back and said that it was in fact intended to be a bit cheeky and to start some thinking around it. And they contended that there's more than one way to define a Kiwibank, and ownership is perhaps one useful tool, but there are many other things, like the fact that ASB is near entirely, near 100% of all of their lending is within New Zealand, that they only operate within New Zealand, that they have in fact been established for that long, that they have the ASB trusts, which is very heavily involved in community activities, that during the Job Summit thing they came out and offered a $1 billion special loan package to help stimulate the economy.
Right.
And the list went on and on. So they contended, and I think that they do have a point, that there is more than one way to define a Kiwibank and ownership. just one way.
More than one way to skin the cat, obviously, but I mean, no one in their right mind, though, ever considers those things that you just talked about when they think about something being a New Zealand item. You know, we think about stuff being New Zealand owned.
I don't know. I'm not saying I would particularly agree with this, and they were being cheeky, but I think they make a fair argument if they're going to say that, and they're earning their money. It's getting quite clear. And so the ASA actually they convene a group of people to judge these complaints, and with that part of the complaint, and also with the other part, they ended up having a split decision with the majority agreeing with the ASB position that was fine. Although, interestingly, a minority on the ASA actually said that's not okay. We don't believe that. It was obviously intended to cause confusion about ownership, and it was trying to claim things that a reasonable person would not think was reasonable. So there was at least one person on the board, on the judging board there, who does agree with the position that it is wrong to claim that. And I got in contact with the ASA to see if they would tell me a little bit more about this process, because it sounded juicy and exciting and rather interesting. I'd love to know how the process went down, but they don't talk about their decisions to media. They let their published decisions that are quite well reasoned out, very similar to the way a BSA complaint or something is reasoned out. They let their published decisions do the talking for them, they say. Which is a shame.
Yeah, but looking at the campaign itself, though, I thought it was a strange campaign in that it was, it was kind of negative, but also at the same time painting the opposition, being Kiwibank, in a positive light, as it was saying that being Kiwi is a positive thing. So it was sending mixed messages, I thought. I don't think it detracted so much from the competition like it was hoping to.
Well, that's the other interesting thing about the complaint as well, and that around financial codes of advertising, there are very strict rules about being very clear, because you have to be clear and you have to be accurate. You can't be, you can use a lot more hyperbole, a lot more puffery, a lot more kind of comments that you don't have to stand by if you're not advertising something so important as financial services. So that the fact that they were kind of creating some confusion around the Kiwibank thing was also found by the majority that it was obviously a ASB product, because the branding and the colours and the relative size and all the rest of it of the words showed that it was an ASB communication. But it is weird that ASB would choose to try and piggyback on the work of another bank in that way, especially in a way that, as many people as not might go, no, you're not.
Yeah.
Get stuffed, you Aussies.
Yeah. There was also a bit of a backlash on social media as well. There was a Facebook group set up to say that ASB Bank was not a Kiwi bank. And there was also, this wasn't very well publicised, but I just heard about it recently. There was some a workers' union organised picketing outside various ASBs in some of the provinces around the country as well, where it opened up another can of worms and other issues surrounding ASB Bank and the fact that they are overseas owned and had closed down some of their branches that were in historic buildings around the country. And there was a lot of unhappiness in some of the provinces about this.
That is fascinating. And was that a direct response to the
campaign?
The Kiwibank campaign?
Yeah. See,
that is interesting, because I tend to just get a little bit bored about all these things, pavlovas and buzzy bees and Kiwi stuff, like just being a Kiwi in and of itself, isn't enough reason for me to care about something. But it must have a tremendous effect, because the campaigns keep coming, and if people are picketing, then it really does.
Yeah. Simon Pounds, thanks so much. SimonPound.com if you want to read more.
Witnessing some wonderful road rage there.
Oh, really?
A little bit distracted.
The traffic and the road rage. It's all back. It's all back for 2010. Nothing changes, Simon. We'll see you next week.
Have a good day, good sir.
See ya.
Talk to you soon.
It's now 8:53.
Greetings to all record enthusiasts.